Tony Gerdeman from BuckeyeHuddle.com joins us now. And Gerd, the Ohio State Buckeyes back in the college football playoff, third time in the last 4 years. Yet at the same time, it seems like the last month hasn't been the best of times for Ohio State. It hasn't been the worst of times either, but I think that speaks to the high expectations surrounding this program.
Yeah, definitely high expectations. And, with this dark cloud over the program as they get ready for the playoffs, it's probably best that they can practice indoors away from this cloud and just stay within the walls of the Woody and just exist in reality, I guess, while everybody else around them, like we all exist in, why haven't you done this? What about this? Then you lost this, and what about that? So it's probably best for them to just be in the walls, focusing on themselves and Georgia at this point.
Georgia Bulldogs, the opponent on New Year's Eve night. The Georgia Bulldogs, undefeated, defending national champions. They seem to be playing even better as of late. Certainly a lot of discussion around Selection Day, that the committee didn't do the Bulldogs any favors by matching them up with Ohio State. Should the Buckeyes be concerned with the Bulldogs? Should the Bulldogs be more concerned with the Buckeyes?
I've watched 5 Georgia games all the way through now, and they do a little thing where maybe they play down to the competition. That watch them against Missouri, watch them against Kentucky. Kentucky was a 10-point game. The Missouri, I think, was maybe like a 7 or 9-point game. Then I also watched them against Tennessee, dominated Tennessee, even though that was still only a 14-point game at the end. Dominated Oregon, put 50 points on LSU. So when the level of competition rises, so does Georgia. But still in there, all of those teams that lost made some mistakes that were unforced. And I've been told, by NFL scouts, don't even worry about that Georgia-Oregon game, because both of those teams are so different by the end of the season. But you look at LSU throws for over 500 yards on them. So there are areas where if you keep C.J. Stroud upright and you just let him throw, there are some vulnerabilities in the Georgia secondary. It's just getting to that point. And then Georgia's offense is very multiple, versatile. They don't necessarily throw to a bunch of different receivers, wide receivers. They'll throw to their backs, they'll throw to their tight ends. So they're just hard to nail down on exactly what they're going to do, because they do so many different things.
You're saying Georgia's a little vulnerable to the pass, so you'd think that would play into the strength of Ohio State. C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Mecca Buku. That is, if Ohio State goes back to some of the early season game plans where they let those guys beat you instead of the more conservative play calling we saw the final month of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that, Ryan Day, the day they were announced for the playoffs, said we're going to go and swing, and we're not going to be timid or anything like that. If you take him at his word, you figure this is going to be maybe something like the Rose Bowl last year, where you're just flinging it around. But I do know they're going to want to try to run the ball. And if Mayan Williams is healthy, you're going to try to see if you can get something there, because the better you can run, the better you'll be able to throw. But watching this Georgia secondary, and I don't know if there are people who think that they'll blitz CJ so that he doesn't have as much time, or they'll just stay back like they did against Tennessee and make you throw underneath. So he's going to have all of these different things to figure out, while also trying to deal with one of the most versatile defenses in terms of looks and schemes in the nation. So there's going to be a lot to process. The longer it takes him to process, the worse things are going to be for Ohio State.
2 Heisman Trophy finalist quarterbacks going head-to-head in this game, C.J. Stroud and Georgia's Stetson Bennett. But I think it's fair to say that one of these quarterbacks is not like the other.
Yeah, and watching Stetson Bennett, there are some throws that he'll make that it's like, this is why people doubt him. But then there are games where he'll make plays where he looks like he should be right up there with Caleb Williams and Bryce Young, as these guys who just will do anything to finish off a play. And he will get outside of the pocket. He will make plays downfield. He will remind Buckeye fans of J.J. McCarthy in terms of, you can't let him get out of the pocket and find a scramble drill receiver breaking off, because that will happen. And so the Ohio State secondary is going to have to be very aware of that. And when he scrambles, you got to let everybody else up front take care. Let the front 7 take care of the scramble. You stick with your receiver, because Stetson Bennett will find that guy. He'll keep things alive, and he'll find that guy, or else he'll just pick up 13 yards on a first down, and he'll do it all over again. So he can make a lot of the throws. He's very confident. Sometimes that confidence will get him into trouble, but also he's a guy that if you've got 2 minutes left and you're down 4, he's the guy you want.